Hello, everyone. All hope you had a very, very wonderful day and a very, very beautiful evening and a very, very beautiful evening and a wonderful afternoon. As you can see, guys, the sky is quietly beautiful today. It's quietly clear. There's little clouds and everything else today. I had to exactly bring Universe inside the house because the gardening people were quietly doing the gardening as usual because today's Thursday, as you guys quietly know. So that's that from my side. That's exactly that from my side. But anyway, I hope you guys have been doing well and have been doing great, and I all hope you're happy and you're safe and you're keeping yourselves warm and quietly staying good and very healthy. That's exactly all I can exactly say for you guys. So despite that, we're gonna talk about the next character of Ghostmaster's one of Ghostmaster's daughters, known as Fire Dragon. Fire Dragon is an assassin and a supervillain, and also a former member of the Order of Darkness, an organization, a sacred organization of assassins with the goal of restoring power to the entire sacred world and to the entire sacred universe and to the rest of humankind and to planet Earth. The goal is quietly simple. The goal of darkness's goals are quietly simple: assassination, restoring power to the human world and to the sacred world and to the sacred universe. Excuse me, and to the sacred universe, and as well in using that power, through manipulation and extortion, and in order to hold the world ransom, in order to hold the world into a hostage situation, through some serious conflicts of war, of through putting in some serious conflicts of war and chaos and manipulation in controlling the conflict, and empowering humanity and its civilization into fighting back against those in power and against those and against the ones in corrupt. That's the Order of Darkness's true purpose and goal and mission. Now it's currently led by Silverface, who is a supervillain and an assassin and a member of an ancient secret society of supervillain known as the Founders, with the goal of ruling and conquering the rest of sacred existence and the rest of the known universe. So let's exactly get into it. In Fire Dragon was quietly trained by her father, Ghostmaster. Fire Dragon is actually the older sister. Anyway, let me tell you about this. Fire Dragon is actually the older sister to Firebird, and is actually quietly the younger sister to Witch Hunter. Witch Hunter is quietly the older brother to Firebird and to Fire Dragon. He's the older brother of the two sisters. So Fire Dragon is quietly the older sister to Firebird, and Witch Hunter is the older brother to Fire Dragon and to Firebird. So I was just exactly trying to tell you where they all stand, guys, with the ages, just so you guys are perfectly clear. Anyway, let's exactly get into it. So in Fire Dragon's early life, Fire Dragon was quietly trained by her father, Paul Hunter, who's known as Ghostmaster, who trained them in hand-to-hand combat, martial arts, and also in assassin and also in swordsmanship and in hand-to-hand combat. He trained his two daughters and his sons to fight each other. Fire Dragon was quietly not happy that she has to fight against her younger sister, known as Firebird, and fighting against her elder brother, known as Witch Hunter. She exactly took it upon herself to stop fighting until Stealthface appeared in order to try to manipulate Firebird into fighting against her, which Firebird exactly refused, into fighting against her sister and against her older brother and against her older sister and older brother. And Fire Dragon was very pleased with her sister's actions and words until Stillface and Ghostmaster shook hands on that day and said that he'd done a good job in teaching them the scientific ways of manipulation, and deception, which Fire Dragon was quietly shocked that her father was very quietly shocked and was that her father was able to teach them the science of manipulation and deception that are quietly at work, and which Fire Dragon was able to pick that up in a very quietly fast mode. And she's a very, very fast learner, guys. She's a very, very fast learner and also smart and intelligent. So was able to pick that lesson up in fast slow motion in a faster way, and able to learn from it in a very faster way. And she was very, very quietly surprised that her father taught them that. She was very even quietly surprised to see her father walking away, taking his bag in order to fulfill his own mission and his own plans, in order to make sure that his reputation as Ghostmaster remained intact in the underworld and in the sacred world, so that he becomes the most powerful sacred supervillain known as Ghostmaster. Ghostmaster told his daughters and his sons that he won't return home anytime soon or anything else like that. He saw Ghostmaster hugging his mother, Nora the Light Hunter, who was a superhero, hugging his mother, telling him that he will never exactly return. Nora quietly was very quietly heartbroken and quietly shocked and not exactly quietly pleased with Ghostmaster's action, as in seeing him leaving left the children in such a very much of a state of shock, of a heartbreaking. In doing so, Nora, the Light Hunter, decided to mentor her children in training them in a proper way and in a wiser technical way, where she trained them in the ways of having compassion, humanity, humility, hope, love, and also sharing friendships and relationships and understanding love and hope and compassion towards other people and towards her kind, known as her kind of the light hunters. Her kind, Nora's kind, are the light hunters, the good guys who've been fighting against the Shadow Empire for many centuries and for many millennia. Nora comes from a species and a race of light hunters who are devoted to protecting humanity and the sacred world and the sacred universe from monsters and from powerful dark supervillains and ancient sinister threats who threaten the sacred peace of the sacred world and of the sacred universe. Nora the Light Hunter decided to train her children into using hope and compassion to defending those who can't exactly defend themselves. But Fire Dragon was quite not pleased with the way things exactly had to go, which exactly decided to pack her bags and also decided to leave. Her younger sister told her not to leave, while Fire Dragon told her sister that it's time for her in order to also to build her reputation and also her criminality reputation as well. And after that, she told that her name is Fire Dragon now. So please remember that. She quietly left. And Noah tried to stop Fire Dragon from leaving, but Fire Dragon even hugged her mom and told her that she won't be coming back soon or anything else, and that she told her mom not to able to expect her because she won't be returning sooner or rather than later. Nora was quietly heartbroken that she lost her daughter, but she also lost her son as well, who Witch Hunter decided also to pack his stuff and leave in order to create his own reputation as a supervillain. Fire Dragon told Witch Hunter that he also has to follow his own path and his own leadership. Nora was quietly devastated as she lost two of her children, Fire Dragon and Witch Hunter, at the exact at the at a different day, despite their father left in a different day, and seeing them leaving, she was quietly heartbroken. But despite that, she will keep training and mentoring Firebird into becoming a good, wonderful superhero, not a very bad supervillain like her grandfather, known as Black Mask, and the Dark Witch Laura, or the Dark Witch Laura, her grandmother. Fire Dragon learned the truth about her grandmother and her grandfather, that they are the most powerful couple, the most powerful dark couple throughout the sacred world, and that they are the most notorious super criminals ever existed throughout the sacred world and throughout the sacred universe. In doing so, Fire Dragon was recruited by the organization known as the Order of Darkness into helping its goal and also its leadership. Mountain Man was quietly happy to meet Fire Dragon at the exact same time, telling her that her skills and her works will be very compatible and be very useful to the cause and to the organization's mission. And Fire Dragon was very pleased and very happy with that goal. On the on the 2nd of May, the Order of Darkness's assassins were hired in order to catch the crystal, in order to catch a purple crystal that the rest of the inhabitants that the rest of the inhabitants were quietly that the rest of the planet's inhabitants were quietly protecting and guarding. The Universal heroes were quietly able to anticipate that, known as Universal Man, Firebird, Rex, Warboy, and Mind Girl were able to exactly protect the crystal. But Fire Dragon brought two members of the Order of Darkness with her, known as Mountain Man and Dead Man, in order to fighting these two heroes while she get the crystal. In doing so by finding the crystal's protector, she was able to realize that she was actually fighting her younger sister Fire Dragon at that time. And before she could easily surrender to Fire Dragon when the battle was over, she told them that she will blackmail and expose her darkest secrets to her new colleagues and to her new friends. And Firebird decided to let her go. Fire Dragon is very quietly good in disappearance and also in stealth technique, in remaining silent, and also in disappearing at will, in conjuring up a black smoke of darkness, which demonstrates that she's an agent and an assassin of the Order of Darkness, which she was able to disappear at will after that. On the next year on on the 1st of June, on the no, not on the 1st of June, on the 1st of September, Fire Dragon was quietly given a job and a mission to quietly kill the Four Nation Hunters to assassinate one of the Four Nation Hunter consul on that exactly day, where she failed the mission when Werewolf Boy intervened with Rex by her side, able to exactly catch her. They exactly sent her straightly to the sacred prison, not to the astral prison, to be kept there. While she was quietly kept interrogated by Werewolf Boy and also Rex, who was able to exactly ask him questions who exactly hired her to make sure they hid. She said it was a member was the Order of Darkness, and who exactly hired the Order of Darkness. All she said there was a mysterious big bad boss who was quietly working behind the scenes, who was quietly orchestrating all of this in order to take place. Unannounced that her father, unannounced to the two superheroes that her father was actually pulling to rescue her, which he quietly did. Ghostmaster quietly arrived at the scene in order to rescue her from the prison, and she wasn't quietly surprised that it was her father who she was able to work with, and she was not very quietly satisfied or very quietly happy with that. But despite that, she was quietly aggravated and she was quietly forced to escape with her father. The two heroes became more persistent as Fire Dragon threw more shurikens and more blades at them, and this time she threw a bomb at the heroes who are able to exactly survive within the headquarters of the Order of Darkness. Within the headquarters of the Order of Darkness, Ghostmaster told her daughter that she wouldn't have this job if it was not for Ghostmaster's connection and resources. And despite that, she wouldn't exactly kill her father despite being on the same job with her. And she told her father that she's working on this job because she needs the money and she needs the work of it. Despite that, Master Bond appeared from the shadows and telling him that the chaos among his two assassins wasn't for him to create wasn't for them to exactly create a rift among his two assassins, rather with the nations of the Four Nation, rather with the Four Nation controls in order for them to be rifted amongst each other. And despite that, she bowed down to her master, stating Fire Dragon is stated saying that she should exactly say that Master, we're at your service. Despite that exactly being unknown that they are being watched, Master One was able to identify that Werewolf Boy was exactly watching them, and he told them that he hated being watched by a superhero known as Werewolf Boy. Fire Dragon exactly went straightly into taking out Werewolf Boy, along with Ghostmaster solving to removing Werewolf Boy out of the way, which they were successfully able to do exactly. By doing so, Ghostmaster told him to surrender. Ghostmaster told Werewolf Boy to surrender, and Rex, which they could not exactly surrender. Rex was able to conjure up a water bubble to protect themselves along with their disappearance when Ghostmaster threw a rain hand grenade at them, which was able to exactly protect them, creating a huge smoke within the water pipe and throwing them straightly deep into the ocean, which they were able to survive. Fire Dragon continued her next attempt with her assassination mission into assassinating the members of the Four Nation Hunter Council, which was quietly thwarted due to the intervention of Rex and Werewolf Boy, and as well Firebird. During at that time, she was able to fight Firebird, exactly stating that was exactly quite good to exactly see her own flesh of light fighting against her, and Firebird continued fighting against her alongside Werewolf Boy, which were able to continue fighting. The tide of the battle quietly changed when Rex used his water powers abilities in order to drive off the assassins out of the way until Fire Dragon arrived, putting on her hoodie and her full uniform assassination and a fire dragon uniform, and throwing a hand grenade straightly at the water creature when in order to conjure up their disappearance, which they were able to successfully disappear on the 1st of October. Fire Dragon was quietly hired on an assignment in order to protect her father from exactly retrieving the equipment that he needs for his associates and for his big bad boss, which Fire Dragon was quietly hired. She distracted her sister Fire Dragon and also Firebird from exactly going after Ghostmaster along with Werewolf Boy, which was able to keep busy. She kept on fueling the animosity between the two members of the Universal Heroes in order to make sure that they continue hating each other and continue fighting each other. She even kissed Werewolf Boy. On the scene in order to make her sister more jealous and more angry, which Firebird was able to exactly move away purposely. In doing so, Firebird continued fighting against her sister Fire Dragon, who mysteriously disappeared again, was unable to exactly see herself again. At this time, Fire Dragon came around, and she exactly showed Fire Dragon showed her a tracker that Werewolf Boy put on Fire Dragon's sword, stating that her teammates don't exactly trust her as they usually do exactly. And she showed a video of Ghostmaster scouting the warehouse, where Ghostmaster was able to throw a powerful equipment, a powerful dark sword equipment, launching it straightly at Werewolf Boy when Firebird mysteriously threw her arrow straightly at Werewolf Boy in order to protect him. In doing so, the two superheroes fought against the worst assassins by taking them down. Firebird continued her attack against Fire Dragon, which Fire Dragon was continuing driving off her assassin until Rex and Universal Man arrived at the scene, drawing off the assassins, which are continue to draw off the villains. Fire Dragon told the Firebird told the present villains to stand down and surrender. Which Dark Witch Boy was statistically complying with that, able to facilitate the escape by leaving statues of rocks of themselves, by facilitating the escape with his dark magic, which was able to exactly allow them to do when Universal Universal Man was fighting against Fire Dragon, she was teleported and left nothing else but a rock statue of herself, and he was able to successfully breaking it. Fire Dragon on the 1st of December was able to lure the heroes in through an ambush with other assassins of the Order of Darkness, when she brought a briefcase a briefcase containing the crystal chips, and the other assassins were quietly present. And when Greenman exactly revealed himself to the other heroes, stating that this ambush was the only way to kill you guys, and that these orders were hired by the big bad bosses, were hired by the big bad masters, by the big bad masters in order to kill the heroes once and for all. Fire Dragon continued her attack on her sister Firebird in order to continue fighting against her. In doing so, she told her that these attacks and all these skills, like in them fighting against each other, reminds her of how Dad exactly used to teach them to fighting against each other, which successfully continued. Fire Dragon was able to exactly save her sister through the avalanche created by Warboy, who was successfully fighting against a monstrous villain, was able to exactly continue fighting against him. In doing so, Fire Dragon told Viper that she is exactly his sister. She is exactly her sister, and she wouldn't exactly want to be fighting against her or wanting to kill her. She left behind a briefcase containing the samples of the crystal technology behind, and she exactly left that on purpose. Exactly. The other supervillains were quietly sentenced straightly into the Astro prison, except for Fire Dragon. Fire Dragon bought her sister Firebird on the island, on Sacred Valley Island, due to her father's orders, in order to be coerced by the founders into joining the bad guy side. But unbeknownst to Fire Dragon, which that Firebird prepared an ambush for, on the Universal heroes began ambushing the villains, began taking on their own villains. Fire Dragon continued taking on against her sister and her brother and her father with the assistance of Rex and Universal Magic Girl, continued to order to fight against the villains and able to take them down. And she told them to exactly take them. When Ghostmaster was quietly down, Witch Hunter disappeared within the shadows, and Fire Dragon told her father that this was the last time that she was able to save him. This was the last time she was able to save his life. And after that, she disappeared within the shadows of the forest. She disappeared within the shadows of the jungle, and she was never quietly seen again. After that, she disappeared. During within the part time, she fell in love with Werewolf Boy, and she was able to give birth. She was able to give birth on the 1st of January to a child known as Warboy, who would become a powerful superhero. Werewolf Boy was quietly obsessed in finding Captain Caesar's clone, which that obsession created a straining relationship on Fire Dragon, and Fire Dragon exactly returned on the 2nd of January in order to tell Werewolf Boy that she was able to get the leads of tracking down Captain Caesar's clone, and also finding out where the real clone is and where he was quietly kept. During at that time on the 15th of January, Fire Dragon and Werewolf Boy continued their raid on the facility by fighting off the guards and also the hidden assassins of the Order of Darkness, who were previously guarding the facility, and as well the assassins the guards of the assassins. And in doing so, they were able to exactly reach to the hall of the fortress and able to exactly break in, seeing three cryo stasis pods quietly on hold. Fire Dragon released one, and she saw Captain Caesar, and she saw a clone and she actually saw the two powerful warlords, Warlord Dick and Warlord Sarah at that time, and she decided to release them and also to set them free. That was quietly not part of the plan that Warford was expecting, but despite that, she quietly set them free. On the 2nd of February, she met up with her father, Ghostmaster and Witch Hunter, discussing about their reputations, about their personal reputations, saying that Black Sport has gone way too far, that they have to take drastic actions and measures into order attacking him and to finalizing this deal. And Fire Dragon was quietly aggravated and more angry than ever that her father would exactly protect his own reputation rather than protect his own daughters and the rest of his family. And despite that, Witch Hunter previously agreed with her sister, saying that his father has to do what needs to be done in order to protect his reputation and the rest of his work, which was exactly part of the plan. Fire Dragon is able to pull out liberate her father from the mountain, from the mountain cave of the organization of the secret society of the founders after Ghostmaster failed in getting the services, in getting his services appreciated and his work appreciated by the founders. And he was very quietly aggravated and angry with their father's actions, saying that they quietly made their decision and their choice, which was able to successfully defect, when Windmaster continued shooting at the helicopter and they were quietly left. On the on the 5th of March, Fire Dragon accompanied her father in order to getting his revenge and his personal reputation back against Black Sport, which was able to successfully do so. In doing so, they were attacked by Darkbird, who was undercover, known as the sister of Firebird, was able to successfully attack them both and was able to successfully neutralize them. Mindgirl was able to bring them straight into the mindscape, where she was able to clear out everything else, stating that Firebird is still actively alive and that she's still quietly okay. In doing so, Fire Dragon was quietly clear that her sister was quietly alive, but her father did not exactly believe her. Despite that, they were able to exactly escape and leave. Before they were able to successfully escape, Silverface was able to Silverface was able to exactly persuade them not to exactly tell them they were leaving so soon. Fire Dragon continued throwing some shurikens and some discs against Silverface, who became more persistent by dodging the disc with these swords and weapon. In doing so, Ghostmaster concentrated his attack on Silverface, while Fire Dragon concentrated in helping and assisting until Darkbird appeared out of nowhere, telling them it was a very good idea to seeing her family back again in order, fighting for herself and defending herself. In doing so, Fire Dragon told her that she only did it because she also told her that she's an auntie now. Yes, Firebird is actually an auntie now to Fire Dragon's son known as Warbear, and she told her that she's an auntie now and that she needs to look after her son and her children. Before they can actually do anything else, Mindgirl appeared and throw the two assassins simultaneously at the wall. Ghostmaster wanted to finish them right up there, but Mindgirl told her that it's better that they exactly leave, which Fire Dragon told her father persuaded them in order to exactly leave, which they successfully able to leave. She was able to exactly meet up with her mother on the exact same day, telling her that Firebird is actively alive and she's still quietly doing well. And then she was very thankful that her mother was able to look after her newborn son known as Warbear. And Nora the Light Hunter told her that she needs to exactly leave the path of the supervillain behind and the darkness path behind. But she told her mother Nora that this path was quietly designed for her and was always exactly meant for her. Despite that, guys, Fire Dragon exactly left and defected from the Order of Darkness. She left the organization, the sacred organization of assassins, in search of her own path and of her own mission. In doing so, she became an operative of Mr. Silver, who's a powerful supervillain, a powerful businessman and an influencer of the world, owning Silver Industries in trafficking superhumans. And Fire Dragon was quite a part of that phase in trafficking these superhumans. She was able to liberate some of the other superhumans, trying to exactly form her own team called the Shady Light. She's a leader of the Shady Light, a group of supervillains who are quietly with a mission in liberating superhumans, with the mission of liberating superhumans and captive superhumans from the abusive of the Shadow Empire and from the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders. In doing so, Fire Dragon was quietly part of that stage, which was able to liberate the superhumans. And in doing so, she gave them back their freedom and their liberation. And she told them they're still welcome to join her team. And they exactly just started to stay by her side in order to work for her and also to work for her into becoming an operative. Fire Dragon was able to exactly meet up with her sister in order to get her clarity to come back to her son's life, which telling her that her son is now a superhero on the 5th of May, telling her that her son is now a superhero, a powerful superhero, and is quietly doing well and that he needs her. Fire Dragon told her Firebird that her son doesn't exactly need her. She'll always be Fire Dragon. She'll always be an assassin. After that, she was teleported by other super by one of her colleagues who was able to give the intelligence about the Order of Darkness to her sister, and the information about the Order of Darkness's new location and its new headquarters to her sister Firebird, who was able to tell Universal Man and the rest of the Universal heroes about the information, and the rest of the world hears about the information too. Despite this, Fire Dragon was able to exactly reconvene with the members of the Shadow Empire warlords on the seventh of April, on the 7th of April, telling them that she's quietly done with them, and that she's quietly cutting ties off with them, and that she's done giving her services and everything else to them. The Shadow Empire warlord and commander was trying to finish off Fire Dragon, but unbeknownst that one of her superhumans were quietly present in order to protect her, which they did, able to teleport her to safety, which they were able to exactly do so. The Shadow Empire warlords and commander were quietly very happy and disappointed with Fire Dragon's affection, and in leaving the greater cause that they exactly hoped in order to remain them, in order to help them remain in power of the Shadow Empire, in controlling the Shadow Empire, and exactly seeking his throne for their own sinister plans and sinister contents and plans. Despite this, Fire Dragon is quite ambitious as she made more new plans and alterations into seeing her son, and she was able to speak with her son on the next month of March, on the 1st of March, telling him that she was quietly proud of her son's work, and also her son told her that it's better that if she comes back to his life in order to teach her everything else. Fire Dragon exactly refusing to come into her son's life, as saying that she'll be a bad influencer, but Warbear told her mother that she'll never be a bad influencer, as also did Werewolf appear, telling her that she still loves her and that she'll always be his wife no matter what. Despite the bad whatever you took, will still support you and help you to come back to your heroic side. Fire Dragon told her husband and her son that she'll never exactly see them again, because right now she's on her own path and she's on her own mission. Fire Dragon returned to her base of operation, where she told her team, known as a shady shade of light, that they need to continue the operation in liberating other superhumans and captive superhumans from the Shadow Empire's control, and also liberating other worlds and planets from the Shadow Empire's control, which was a true objective. They all agreed that that's exactly the true mission, and that they were able to exactly focus it and that goal. Despite this, guys, Fire Dragon is very smart and very intelligent, very perceptive and very manipulative. She's very good in assassination, in guns, blades, daggers, and in dark weapons and everything else. Despite that, she knows exactly who her grandfather and her grandmother is, that they're the most powerful supervillains ever existed throughout the rest of sacred history, that her grandfather is Black Mask, and her grandmother is the Dark Witch Laura, and her father is Ghostmaster, and her mother is a Light Hunter Nora. Despite this, knowing about her parentage and her origin, that she comes from a family of superheroes and a family of supervillains, despite that she decided to inherit the name Fire Dragon to becoming a powerful assassin and a supervillain. She defected from the Order of Darkness in earlier later in order to form her own group of supervillains known as the Shade of Light, and a group of supervillains with the task in liberating other superhumans and worlds and planets from the Shadow Empire's control, in fighting against other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders against their own sinister plans and against their own mission. Despite this, she loves her sister very much and her brother very much with all her heart, and she loves her father and her mother deeply very much, and she even loves her grandmother, known as the Dark Witch Laura, and her father and her grandfather Black Mask very much, despite exactly that they are the most powerful bad guys and the most powerful super criminals ever. She'll do whatever it takes to protect them, and also she'll do whatever it takes. She's still secretly working with her grandmother, known as the Dark Witch Laura, and the Dark Witch Laura will continue supplying her with destructive dark technology as always, which will always helping out her daughter as part of her new mission in liberating worlds and planets from the Shadow Empire's control, despite that it doesn't exactly work out for her masters or for a new boss. Despite this, Fire Dragon is very ambitious and very talented in assassination, and very gifted in archery, bow and arrow, and also in hand grenades and bombs and swordsmanship and hand-to-hand combat. She's very, very skilled in dark technology, in holding technology, in mastering the dark destructive technology of the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders. She even left the Order of Darkness in search for her own path, and for her own destiny. She believes that she also has her own path and her own mission and her own cause in liberating worlds and planets from the Shadow Empire's control, and from the Shadow Empire's control in fighting against the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, which whom she believes have corrupted the known universe and the rest of the galaxy by creating war and chaos and destruction upon its wake. Unbeknownst that they are powerful supervillains who have much higher goals for universal domination and for world domination that they exactly trying to create in controlling the known universe and the sacred universe and the sacred world. She doesn't quietly hate the Phoenician hunters or hate the universal heroes or Firebird or any one of those heroes, because she quietly views them as an allies to her mission and as well to her goals in liberating worlds and planets and civilizations from the Shadow Empire and from the Shadow Empire's control, and from the newly Lord of Magic and from Red Bolt's control, and from the newly Lord of Magic, and is also in his ancient new secret society that is quietly operating within the shadows and in secrecy of the sacred world and of the sacred universe. Despite this, Firebird cares so much about her husband, Werewolf Boy. They were quietly married early years later, and they're quietly able to borrow a son known as Wolf Bear, who's a powerful superhero. She loves her husband and her son deeply, so much that she'll even protect them against the ends of the universe. There's nothing she will exactly do for them or for her family. She's very determined, smart, possesses rare intelligence. One thing she inherited from her grandmother and from her father was true immortality, to remain beautiful and to remain good looking. That's all that she inherited from her grandmother, and also from her mother's side. While she also inherited her mother's good looks and her father's good looks, that's the one thing she inherited, as well as her sister and her elder brother. They also inherited their grandmother's immortality. Their grandmother's immortality to remain immortal and more beautiful and more attractive with good looks and very beautiful faces. That's the one thing they've inherited from their father and mother, which was their mother's eyes. Fire Dragon has her mother's eyes and her father's nose and her father's ears and her father's genetic good looks, and also inherited her father's ability of remaining immortal and also beautiful. That's the one thing they've inherited. That's the one thing they've inherited from her grandmother's side, known as immortality, and from her father's side, immortality, and also to remaining beautiful. Despite this, she loves working. She doesn't love working with her father, as she quietly views him as an obstacle. Their relationship is quietly on and off since her father exactly left her in her early years life and abandoned them in her early years life. Despite this, she quietly will protect her father, and she always loves her father despite the relationship, and she always quietly appreciates him and loves him. She'll even quietly defend him and protect him against his adversaries and against his formidable foes and top competitors such as Golden Knight, Death, Deathblade, Silverface, Windmaster. Those are her father's top competitors of the in the supervillain big game. Despite this, Ghostmaster, guys, has no ambition, not even a cent of it, not even a scratch of it. But her daughter is very quietly ambitious, and she formed her own team of supervillains into liberating worlds, planets, and civilizations from the Shadow Empire's control, and otherworldly worlds and civilizations from the Shadow Empire's control, and also making sure that the Shadow Empire never remains the most dominant, powerful force in the known universe and in the rest of sacred history. Despite this, she'll even assist the Phoenician hunters in their mission in fighting against the monsters of the sacred world, the monsters of the sacred world, by banishing them back from the dark dimension and sending them back straightly from the dark dimension and removing them from the earthly plane and from the mortal plane, from hurting humanity and from causing chaos and destruction in its wake. She views the universal heroes as a good influence to the world and to the sacred world and to the sacred universe, and she'll do whatever it takes in her power to helping her sister Scene and her new family in liberating the known universe and the galaxy from the supervillain's control and from the big bad's control, and also stopping the big bad's sinister plans and universal domination from conquering worlds and planets and civilizations. Whatever, if they're gonna exactly reach to that capacity, she'll exactly stop the bad guys' plans and make sure that the bad guys' plans don't come into fruition. She's even an ally of the universal heroes and of the world heroes, the United Heroes, the Intergalactic Coalition. She's even assisting them in liberating many worlds and many planets as part of her deal with her sister in order in helping them. But despite this, she loves Firebird and she quietly admires her and she quietly views her as a good example to her son, and which she quietly loves her son and she quietly adores him. There's nothing she would do as a mother to protect her son from the forces of darkness and from the forces of evil that they're threatening the sacred peace that the heroes are fighting for to protect, to restore balance and order to the sacred world and to the sacred universe and to the known universe. Fire Dragons believe she believes that humanity is a good species and that they just need a bit of a helping hand to need a bit of a helping hand to be inspired of the best versions of themselves. That's what Fire Dragon believes, and she'll do whatever it takes to make sure that humanity doesn't end up on the dark side or rather on the bad side. She'll stop the manipulations of the bad guys or the forces of the order of darkness from manipulating events and controlling events of wars and conflicts in order to use them to their advantage, to manipulating, to altering humanity's history and the sacred world's history and the Phoenician Hunters' war history to their leverage and to their sides. She'll even fight against her top competitor, Master Power, who is a high-ranking member of the Order of Darkness and who's a high-ranking member of an ancient secret society of supervillains known as the Lord, known as the Order of the Fates, known as the Dark Fates. Known as the Dark Fates. She quietly viewed Master Power as a threat to the sacred world and also to the sacred universe, and she'll do whatever it takes in her power to stop him and his goals. Her obsession in taking him down is the one thing that's quietly gotten in the way of her being with her family and everything else. But despite this, she's a caring mother and a caring sister to her, both to her brother, to her sister, and also to her family, and also to her grandparents, known as Black Mask and Dark Witch Laura. She cares about them and she'll always protect them. She's secretly still communicating with Black Mask and with her grandmother in secret and still supplying them with endless technology. In return, they supply her with intelligence and information and with more destructive technology as part of their deal. They care about each other. Fire Dragon was quietly born on the earlier years by her mother, Nora the Light Hunter, and her father is Ghostmaster Paul Hunter, who is exactly her father. Her younger sister is Fire Dragon. Her older brother is Witch Hunter, who is a supervillain and also a part superhero-ish. So, yeah. So that's it, guys. I all hope you had a wonderful evening and a very beautiful day. I will see you tomorrow on Friday. Stay safe and stay happy and be good. Be good. Be very good. Today's episode was about Fire Dragon, the assassin, and also a supervillain. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay safe and stay happy. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.